recording as well. So welcome everybody to our Elevate EST Exceptional Speaker Training Summit. And we are so grateful that you're here and that you've taken your time together on a Tuesday night. Now, Elevate EST, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but Elevate EST stands for Exceptional Speaker Training. And, you know, being an exceptional speaker is not easy. You know, it is actually an incredible skill set. And we are so grateful for the work of our participants who are speaking tonight. So how Elevate EST works is, you know, we teach people how to speak. And the way that we do that is by giving them opportunity, right? You can't learn how to speak in, you know, a laboratory somewhere or in the halls of academia. The best way to become a great speaker, how many of you would agree with this, is to do it, right? So in Elevate EST, we give people a little bit of theory. So I'm going to say 6 to 8 hours out of a 16-hour weekend, a little bit of the theory of speaking and some of the technique, and then we cut them loose and they speak to each other all weekend long. And then we have a couple of experienced speakers like myself and Connie and another young guy who's with us here tonight, Brad Brownell, and we do some speaking evaluation. So we actually tell you how you're doing. And it's funny because maybe we're too nice, Connie, but people are always saying, well, I want something more raw. You know, can you give me some real feedback? And I'm like, well, I just did, you know, well, yeah, but I want it to be harsh. I'm thinking to myself, no, because you did awesome. You don't need harsh. You need support, you need encouragement, but you also often need those 1 or 2 pointers. And so we did Elevate EST actually on the weekend of May 15th and 16th. And from that group of 30 or 35 who joined us for the weekend, we were able to select, I think 7 or 8 who are going to be speaking tonight. And so, you know, that is a little bit of the plot line for where we're going tonight. One of our co-hosts tonight, so there's myself and my name's Abe and Abe Brown and Connie Jakab. And so Connie is one of our co-hosts tonight. She's going to be our opening speaker. Now, Connie is truly an exceptional speaker, and she has been an exceptional speaker for a long time. How many of y'all believe in empowered women? I just want to check. How many of you believe in empowered women? Good time to raise your hand or say yes in the chat window. And Connie exemplifies that. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's an empowered woman who's spoken on stages all over North America and has worked from the, you know, literally the streets, working with the gangs all the way to with people like Tony Robbins. And she is a person who has an incredible heart. And I think in this day and age, with all of the inauthenticity that we see out there, how many of you agree with me when I say it's so refreshing to see somebody who's so heart-centered? And that is Connie Jakab. So on that note, I'm going to turn the stage over to Connie. And why don't we give Connie a big hand, and we will let her go ahead and share from the heart. Go ahead, Connie, please.
Thanks, Abe. Has there ever been a more important time than right now to become unleashed? There's so much fear out there. There's so much discouragement and languishing, and we need to find our inner warrior right now. In the midst of all this discouragement, there is a hero rising, and that hero is you. We're taking this evening together to become unleashed, to hear stories of inspiration of people who have taken brave risks. My name's Connie Jakab. I'm the Director of Community for Flourishing Life, and I'm here to welcome you. This is the evening where you, the hero, gets called forth. Last night, I got a very discouraging text from a parent of a youth that I used to work with in Vancouver, BC. One of my most precious girls. I was her mentor for a while. Her name was Sarah Robinson. And I found out at the age of 36 last night, she died of liver cancer. Now, Sarah was a phenomenal individual. She grew up to be an advocate for Indigenous women's rights. She advocated to BC government. She worked in legislature. She was working to end the systemic issues that the Indian Act has created for our Indigenous women. She was a remarkable person. And when I heard the news that she had died at the young age of 36, leaving behind a husband and a son, I have to admit my heart tonight is still breaking, because she's always been extraordinary. But one thing I can say about Sarah is that she never let a moment of her life be wasted. She never let a moment of her life think about, well, what if they don't listen to me? Or the barriers that we often think of where we become consumed with just ourselves or our own limitations. No, she went forward anyways. And one of the things I realized is that there's too much at stake if we don't rise up to the things that we feel called to in our lives. There's too much at stake for limited thinking and to not be unleashed. And I'm so thankful for lives like Sarah, a young life, a millennial who did not let her own opinions hinder her. There's so much to rise to right now. And a lot of people are wondering, are dreams really an option for right now? Is there really hope for the inner warrior for you to rise? I believe it's possible. We at Flourishing believe it's possible. The powerful thing about heroes is that they rise in crisis. In fact, in crisis is where heroes shine. You becoming unleashed right now. We want to invite you on this journey with us because this is when people need it the most. It's in the broken moments when the warrior takes their place on the front line. You are that hero. You are that warrior. And this is the opportunity we're inviting you into, to come into this evening with us as we hear from these incredible speakers through our Elevate EST training that we had just over a week ago. There's something incredible waiting for all of us to grasp onto. I want to ask you, are you ready to let the inner warrior of you be unleashed as we listen to these stories of inspiration? No matter where you're tuning in from, let's make a collective choice tonight together to move the mountain of discouragement into possibility. And so if you're ready, I'd love for you to welcome with me all of our speakers. Can we give them a big round of applause? Well, I cannot wait to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is very dear to my heart. Her name is Stephanie. She works with us with so many projects actually in Flourishing Life. She's one of our Flourishing Life coaching parent coaches, but she's also a master coach. She's a supportive counselor, and she's the founder of Phenomenally You Life Coaching. Will you please welcome with me, Stephanie?
Thank you so much, Connie and Abe and the team at Wellness Innovate for this incredible opportunity. And thanks to everyone. I'm so thrilled with how many people are here tonight. Way to go. Thanks for showing up. You are always late for work. We are concerned that you have not met your monthly targets for the last 3 months. I need to talk to you about some concerning client complaints that we received. What if your boss sat down with you and brought up any or all of these concerns with your performance at work? How would it feel? If any of these things were true, then how many of you know you would already know? You know if you're late. You know if there are targets that you haven't been reaching, right? But what if your boss sat down and told you that they have some things to talk to you about that are going to be very difficult for you to hear? So they want to set up an in-person meeting with you another time when they can come to your office. Then they get up and they walk out of the room. This happened to me. That difficult conversation never came. For 7 months, I waited for this conversation. I had never received any constructive feedback in this role. In fact, I know that I had achieved tremendous success with my clients, and they had shared their positive feedback with me and with the organization. What was this difficult conversation that was looming over me as a dark cloud? I had to force myself to go to work every day. It used to be my safe place. until it wasn't. Every day that passed with no follow-up, no support, no clarity, I lost more confidence and self-esteem. After 7 months, I found the courage to initiate that conversation myself, probably like a blubbering idiot. But guess what the difficult things to tell me were, after all? I'm larger than life. My successes were so big that I made other people feel small. I'm too passionate. I talked too much at the monthly meetings. This was bizarre. I actually laughed, but not because I didn't understand or respect what I was being told. But of course I'm larger than life. I spent a better part of a year depressed and anxious and overanalyzing what I possibly could have done wrong. I was misunderstood and not valued for who I am. I sure wish I knew in those moments how I had made people feel, and that I was given the opportunity to learn and adapt what I put out there to the world. I'm much more aware of that now, but I had to take that growth journey on my own. This led to me feeling held back, and in some ways, from offering my clients what I do best and what they have said they cherish most about me. I also realized that I was trying too hard to fit in, and I was losing my sense of self. I definitely lost a lot of confidence that year, and the joy was seeping out of my efforts. I had to make a choice. If staying in my full-time job meant needing to dull my light, then I needed to find a way to shine elsewhere. I started my coaching business. Now I'm free to shine. In your life, think about where you are dimming your light. Have you been made to feel held back from who you are? The world needs your light, whether in life, relationships, career, or business. Pursuing a life of impact means accepting a journey of criticism. To change 100 lives, you will upset 10 people. But so many times we slow down because of the 10 at the expense of the 100. Train your focus on the impact, and the worry of the critic withers away. Full disclosure here, I'm coming at you tonight just 5 days after having a fairly significant surgery. I'm not telling you this because I think I deserve a badge of honor. Like, Abe's not sending me a medal in the mail. As a matter of fact, it's actually more like a badge of stupidity that I might get depending on how I feel later. It's not about that. It's about showing up. What can you do to show up in your own life and move beyond being held back and getting unleashed? You need to get around the right people. Y'all are here tonight. It's a good start. The people who see you. Harness your gifts and abilities, but target them effectively. Be self-aware. Know your presence and how it impacts others. Then have the ability to adapt to the personalities and the style of others. Learn to lighten up and let go. Stop focusing on the negative and lean into the positive. You have a choice. We do not need to dim our light. Sometimes we just need to adjust where we're aiming that light.
30
because
seconds.
people will walk into your light just when they need it the most. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was amazing, everybody. Can we give Stephanie a big hand? That was awesome. Wow, I just love your passion. I love your integrity. I love the statement that you made, Steph. It just really resonated with me when you said the world needs your light. And that was every single person on this call tonight, every single one of you. I promise you, there's people all around you who need that light that's in you. And so thanks, Steph, for your commitment to not let your light be dimmed. We're all grateful. Thank you. That was amazing. So our next speaker here tonight is, he's a friend, he's a father, he's a husband. He is also the co-founder, as you can see from your screen, and he is a director of Systema Solutions. And so what's so great about this individual is that he actually is running a business, and he does it with his lovely wife, and together they're making a big impact. So why don't you all join me as we give a hand to Ryan Johnson. Let's give Ryan a big hand, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Abe. It's a pleasure to be here. So just a caveat for everyone. I've been terrified of public speaking since grade 7, and Abe has kind of shown me the light, and together with the Flourishing group, I kind of got over my fear 2 weekends ago with giving my first speech in 30 years. Very nervous, very scared. I remember the microphone shaking like a madman, and by the time of the second speech, I felt more comfortable and felt better to express my message. So thank you for that. So I have a very successful and lucrative thing about me. Would anyone like to guess what that thing is? You can put it in the chat window if you want. I know it's hard. It's you only know a very tiny fragment of actually who I am. And you know, I'll give you a hint. It's not my success. It's not my technical skills. I don't have a multi-million-dollar golden nugget that I possess. And ladies, it's not my rugged, handsome looks. My success is a trait. I'm human. Is everyone else human here? I think everyone is, right? We don't have any dogs or cats in the crowd, so that's good. Being human is hard. You know, we've had to bind ourselves to a set of rules dictated by thousands of years of various societies, political structures, religion, our family, our heritage, you name it, all combined to make us a society that we can actually live together and work together. We need to conform to a very rigid structure, which goes against some of the individualism that we possess, and some of the kind of irrational things that we do on a day-to-day basis. We do this with society and structure. So within the structure, in the broad sense, like mental conditioning, over many years of our lives. I mean, we go to school starting at in kindergarten or preschool, all the way through, and we learn to condition ourselves for this social structure and how we can conform to develop our personalities. But more importantly, it's about our value system that we define during this development. So if you can imagine in your head just for a moment, so imagine like an iceberg. So 10% of that iceberg is above the water. We all know this from the movie The Titanic, right? And 90% of it is below the surface, right? We can see the 10% above the water, but we can't see the 90% below the water, mostly because it's freaking freezing down there, and who the hell wants to go down there, right? You know, I'm quite happy to have somebody else go down there and figure out what that other 90% is. That's fine, you know, but I'm not going to do it. Unless I really had a reason to want to see that other 90% of the iceberg. So the top things that top 10% of the things we do, observe, and expose to other are basically very very surface level, right? Like our social media accounts, how many cats we have. Do you have funny cats? You probably post it. Do you have thousands of pictures of your kids doing cute things? You post that to your social media. If a dog barked at you today and it scared you, well, you have to tell somebody, right? How somebody looked at you weird and it might have hurt your feelings. How great we feel because we got a new house or a new car or another cat. This is outward facing in our lives. And just above the water line, there's like about a 1 foot section above the waterline between that iceberg, which includes personal defining traits, things like our sense of humor, our education, our background, our experiences. Everyone likes to share those traits with everyone else, right? And some people like to listen, while others like to just want to see what your cat did. I'd like to share a very scientific study. So this study was done by the Harvard Department of Psychology and Research, and it was done and released just this year. And I'll share my screen. They spent tens of thousands of hours studying this very thing. Now, what I'm about to present to you is a fairly detailed summary of their findings. So if everyone is interested, I can give you this very detailed information after our presentation, but I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see that? So this is the very detailed progress. You can see that Harvard put a penguin on the top of the iceberg, and this is an iceberg. And Harvard was kind enough to put a shark in there so that you can tell that this is water as well too. But what other people see, the 10%, is only what other people see. What defines us is our values. And this is built up over thousands of years with our social structures, with our education, and everything else that is put into it. I'm gonna stop sharing now. So what can you all observe from this very detailed scientific study? It's very compelling, isn't it? Well, I see many years of snow piling up, eventually creating an underlying structure, and it's the underpinning of who we are, and that is values. So we can define social and sugarcoat any situation, but long-term our values is what defines us. Imagine our life experience or failures, achievements, all wrapped into a nice neat package of frozen compressed ice in an iceberg, or if, for the left-wingers out there, we can call it like a nice neat package of carbon that you can really compress if you want. Waiting to be released at any time, and sometimes even more so in the wrong time. And that's what's important. We can put all kinds of analogies, visualizations on this, including major world events like climate change, the Black Lives movements, COVID, major media. These kinds of questions, we really reach into our values tool belt, if we say, and usually make the wrong decision because it's our decision and we're biased. Everyone is biased, and it doesn't represent everyone else's value structure. Harvard was kind enough to give me a detailed simulation of this as well too. So thank you, Harvard. Let's check the iceberg tipping upside down. I'll share my screen again.
And you're just at 30 seconds, Ryan.
Okay. Hey, the penguin kind of falls off and he's a little scared there, freaking out. Oh, the iceberg tipped upside down. I spent a lot of time on this. So what do you see on that side of the iceberg? The iceberg is flipped upside down and it's turned into a funnel. And that funnel is our values need to drive our outer image. And that's the real point. It's like a salt shaker. You gotta shake the crap out of that salt in order to get it out and to release our actual values into the day-to-day life, or the day-to-day lives that we portray onto every other person in this world. I don't know if I have time to go through my values. So I have some very questionable values. Like everyone, I think everyone has questionable values in their lives, right? So I'll highlight some very quickly for you. But I just learned in Canada, there's no statute of limitations for like criminal offenses. So I'm going to just name a friend of mine by the name of Chhim. So Chhim once gave like assistance to change the birth year on IDs for all the high school friends. He figured out how to perfectly change the last digit of the birth year, which was flawless. He managed to give an extra year to allow them to buy their alcohol in high school. Chhim also learned how to hack satellite TVs for a major United States satellite TV company. And this wasn't illegal at the time in Canada, but Chhim learned that the CRTC eventually was kind of coming down on this fairly hard. So Chhim had to stop that kind of activity. And, Chhim also fancied the thought of, hey, why make money when you can actually just print money? But I'm not going to talk about that. Chhim is morally questionable, right? But these are all part of us, right? We all have morally questionable things that we have done in our lives. What's really important is to outweigh the positive things into your value bucket and make that negative and those life experiences more meaningful so that you can shake that salt.
That's powerful, Ryan. That was phenomenal. Can we give Ryan a big round of applause? Ryan, we're so proud of you. How many of you are proud of Ryan? Like, he just spoke for the first time just a couple of weeks ago, and it was a weekend. And look at you. We're watching you shine. We're seeing you glow. You're hilarious. How many of you found Ryan to be funny, and yet you punch us with the truth? I'm telling you, whatever Harvard article those visuals were from, that's my kind of Harvard article. I really loved it. Ryan, thank you so much for showing up, being brave, speaking, getting out there, getting out of your comfort zone. We can't wait to see more of you doing this, because now you're not off the hook. Now you've started. We're all holding you accountable. You got to keep going, right?
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, our next speaker, I'm so proud of her. Another beautiful human being who's just come so far. I remember the first time I sat down with Euniz, who said, Connie, I really want to speak my story. Her story is so powerful. And she went on to share it for 1 hour to me. And since then, this is powerful. This is the beauty of walking in community. Euniz had over a year and a half ago did that. And now she has just been narrowing down her message, and it's poignant and it's powerful and it's just amazing. So Euniz, we're so thankful that you're here. She happens to be married to Abe, if you haven't figured that out yet, same last name. And she is a boss of a woman. She's the owner and CEO of Axe IT. She is an amazing lady. Can everyone please welcome with me Euniz Brown?
Thanks so much for that introduction, Connie, and thanks for Elevate EST for this opportunity to speak and being chosen. I felt like I won an award when my name was in there. Truly, the weekend was a big breakthrough for a lot of us that are not born speakers, but have been given another chance tonight. And I hope that I'd be able to inspire you and give you hope as I share my story. My name is Euniz Brown. I am an exceptional wife and a working mom. I'm a student. I'm an immigrant. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm the founder and CTO at Axe IT Consulting. I'm an exceptional at breaking glass ceilings, even in a male-dominated industries. Did you hear IT? Not a lot of women are in IT, and I am in there. Some who knew me may ask, how did this fish girl working in a wet market in the Philippines get to Canada? Or how does this tiny little brown immigrant get to own her own IT company? How is that even possible? What did she do to get there? So tonight, I'd like to share my story that had unleashed my inner power, the inner warrior in me, as what Connie said in her introduction. The one that made me who I am now in front of you and still becoming to reach more success in life, breaking glass ceilings. Number one, I'd like you to know that it's important to know your why. I believe that it's very important to know your why. For me, and I speak for a lot of immigrants that could actually relate to my story. For me, it was my nanay. My nanay means mom. It was my mother in Tagalog, in English from Tagalog. So at age 7, I was already helping my mom in the market. It was how it was, we didn't have a lot. You see, my mom didn't finish any education. She lost her mom when she was 5, and she tried to make it to school, but she only made it to grade 3. She didn't even finish it because she had to help with her family. And so when she started her own family and had 4 kids, which I am in there, my mom's dream and only goal in life is to make sure that we have education. For her, there's no other wealth or no other wealth that she could give to us other than education. She believes that knowledge or education that she didn't had will make us go far in life. Knowledge that cannot be taken away from us. And so she worked really hard with her 2 hands, with my dad, with my tatay. They worked really hard to make sure that we get our education. I would go with her in the market and we would sell fish in the market. I would go to school still with fish scales in my skin, and I would be make fun of because I smell like a fish. I was stinky, and I feel like I didn't belong. But I work hard in school and make sure that I live that dream that my nanay instill in us. That education is the one thing that can make us go far in life. Even if I'm being bullied, even if I'm being said I'm not a teacher's daughter, I would make it. I would always I would make it to be a winner in a competition. I graduated with honors. I finished my degree. I made my mom proud, and that was my why. I wanted to make sure that I finished my education. I wanted to make sure that all the hard work that my mom did wouldn't go to waste. And so was my dream to make a better life for my mom and my dad. That was my why. What was yours? The second thing to unleash your inner warrior is knowing your what. So I continued my journey after I finished my degree in computer network engineering and worked for an antivirus company. I went to Dubai and worked for a VoIP company. It was great. Dubai for me was a toy country at night. It was lots of lights, lots of opportunities. But then I soon realized and discovered my what. What are my values? Who I am and what I believe in. When I was in Dubai, I realized that it wasn't a place for me. There's a lot of opportunities, but not for women. I've seen that I'm not gonna go anywhere because they've always generalized women. And they've always seen them as either a helper or a prostitute, and always a second placer. So that was not a place for me, and I soon rediscovered my red lines. So as you are discovering to unleash your inner power, have you discovered your what? What are your red lines? What are your values?
30 seconds.
On the third one, I would want to say that it's important to know who you are. So I continued my journey in coming to Canada. From Dubai, I went to Canada, realizing that I'm working for a family with, I work as I applied as a live-in caregiver, and I work as a nanny. I look after 2 children with FASD and live with a family that has a 31-year-old, people that I didn't even know. And it was very, very challenging, but believe me, I made my way through. I made it. I finished my papers. I got my permanent residence. I got my first car. You know, being an immigrant, I wouldn't have imagined that I would even know how to drive a car. And I was able to bring my parents here in Canada and my siblings. I was the pioneer for them, and I opened a lot more opportunity for them. And so for me, just knowing your why, knowing your what, and knowing who you are as a person, believing that you can and that you will is very important. Thank you all for listening.
Awesome. Let's give her a big hand, everybody. That's great. Really, really good. That's, of course, my wife. So, I have to say she did excellent, and she did. But beyond being a good husband, how many of you were inspired by that, right? I think today we have all kinds of people who are, they're fighting the system. Let's burn the system down. And I'm thinking, well, isn't that part of the fun? Is beating the system, right? Rather than being beaten by the system. I don't have to burn the system down. The system actually, does set up some barriers without a doubt. But whatever happened to resilience, right? Whatever happened to courage? Whatever happened to bravery? And so thank you, my lovely wife, for exemplifying that. That was incredible. So our next speaker is another lovely young lady. And interesting, just happens also to be a newcomer to Canada. We're blessed in Canada. We have a lot of newcomers. I like saying newcomer because of the fact that, it's a blessing for folks to come to this country. And so you can see from the screen, we have Sophea, and Sophea is an investor. She's an abundance and prosperity coach. And she's also a certified leadership coach and a certified group coach practitioner. And I've gotten to know Sophea. She is just solid gold, and you're going to love her, everybody. So let's give Sophea, if we could, a big hand, and welcome Sophea, and take us away. But just unmute yourself. It looks like you're still muted.
There you go.
Yeah, we got.
Unmute myself. I did that already. Sorry. Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for being here. And oh my goodness, Euniz, you made me want to cry. I'm like, how am I going to speak after you? That really choked me up. Thank you for sharing. So how many of you have visions for your life? How many of you would like to have more, be more, and give more? Okay, you're in the right place. A vision is not where you are, it's where you are going. It's not right now. A vision is where you're going. It's where you're going to come up about from that. It's like having a roadmap to your destination. Can you imagine just driving and not knowing where you're going? It's like throwing a dart in the dark, isn't it? Who has worked on a vision board before or had seen one? Anyone? It's simply a board with your goals and dreams glued and thumbtacked on them. They reveal your visions for your future. For the past couple of years, we've got our 3 boys making them, and I tell you, they do pay attention to their wants. For the parents in here, you do know what I'm talking about, right? When your kids want something, they want it yesterday. For those who already have visions for your life, have you achieved them yet? Have some or all your goals and desires become your reality yet? If so, I applaud you. And if not, why not? If you haven't achieved them, what is stopping you? What is stopping you from your goals and your dreams? What is stopping you from achieving all that you want to achieve? Could be, are you telling yourself or stuff that you've heard from other people, you're not good enough, you're not bold enough, you're too fat, too short? Well, that's what I've been told all my life. I'm too short to do anything. And you're not smart enough, not bold enough, you're too poor, don't have any educational background, you don't have enough support system. Whatever the reasons are they serving you? Are they fulfilling your desires and your wants? In my mid-20s, I'm going to share you a little bit about my background. In my mid-20s, that was just 5 years ago, people. I wrote out on a piece of paper, before I'm 30, number one. Before I'm 30, this is what I want. Number one, to have purchased my first home. Number two, get married. Number three, own my own business. Number four, have my first baby. All before I'm 30. Sounds ambitious, right? Big visions for a 20-something-year-old. Sounds far out of reach, doesn't it? Well, at 27 years old, I purchased my first home. 8 months later, I tied the knot with the man of my dreams, and we got married in our new backyard. At 28 years old, I proudly opened up my first storefront salon boutique business. 5 days after my 29th birthday, I gave birth to my first child, all before I turned 30. So, do you think they just fell in my lap? And these goals and dreams just happened magically, like they've just appeared? Somebody just threw them at me? Sorry to disappoint you if you think so. I first visualized them and I wrote them down. Secondly, I worked my butt off to make it happen, to make it a successful journey. I worked night and day. The first 4 days, the first 4 years of my business, first 4 years, I worked 7 days a week just to get this going with a newborn baby. Again, I ask of you, if you haven't achieved what you've dreamed of, why not? What's stopping you from achieving them? Let me enlighten you a bit. One of the most dangerous habits of not living to your life's potentials or purpose is doubt. Yes, doubt is a habit, an ugly habit that destroys all of your inspiration and motivation. Oxford Dictionary's meaning of doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. In the process of achieving all of those big goals and dreams in my mid to late 20s, I sure had doubts. I couldn't sleep, wondered how I was going to pay my bills, wondered where I'm going to make ends meet, how I'm going to pay my rent, my mortgage, and who was going to take care of my baby when I worked 7 days a week, 12 to 14-hour days. I'm human, guys, just like all of you. It doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. This is not just only first world problems. It's everywhere globally. Now, how did I get myself out of those negative talks, self-doubts? With courage and confidence, I created new habits with new visions that I would have propelled me to move forward. I've created new visions with certainty, new visions with convictions. I pulled out the roadmap again and readjusted my course. I started visualizing my new goals and dreams. Sorry, guys. I started visualizing my new goals and dreams to have a happy ending. So what action steps did I take to change my habits for improvements? What have taken personal and professional development courses? I've taken those again. I've affiliated myself with other neighboring businesses. I hired a nanny to support me and my family with a home front. She was amazing. Worked endlessly, tiredly, worked with us. She was our team. And I took a day off a week from the business for self-care and family time. What may some new habits that you want to change in order for you to achieve your goals and dreams? Perhaps join a gym if fitness is your goal, enroll in a course that you've been putting off, be part of a community or a tribe that would support you to the direction of where you're going. Right now, Flourishing is offering a free challenge to unleash your potential and purpose at the end of this month. So at the end of May, you can simply join with this challenge just to kickstart you. When you begin to take the first step to the direction of your life's purpose, to achieve your goals and dreams, naturally you'd be more motivated to take the second step, the third step, the fourth step, so on, so forth. It becomes habitual eventually. Next, you know, you're actually living your dreams. The dreams that have been waiting to be awakened and ignited by you and only you, because they're your dreams, nobody else's. If you want more, be more, and give more. Start creating new habits with clarity and confidence that will make your vision a reality. We all have visions, so pull out your vision board or whatever method you use to frame, tweak them, and redefine them so you can unleash your fullest potential. I urge you to get up, show up, and roll up your sleeves with confidence and courage to change or add one habit, your habit, new habit this week that'll put your next foot forward to bring you the best amazing life that you've always envisioned. Thank you for listening, guys.
Amazing. I mean, who is not ready to pull up their sleeves and dream and get the vision board out and do all those things before 30? Are you kidding me, Sophia? I'm listening to what you did before 30. I'm like, okay, girl, like, wow, so motivating. And, you know, I have to say, you know, listening to Sophia, the first Elevate EST to now, I wish you could have been in the room, because you would see the transformation. You would see where she's come from with your speaking. That was off the charts, my friend. And can we all just take a moment and look at how stunning Sophia looks? I was like looking at you glow all night. I was like, wow, you know, I just feel a little Beyonce right now. I feel like Who Run the World needs to be on, you know? Yeah. Thank you so much, Sophia. It was absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So good. Well, and you're going to be blown away with our next speaker. I mean, we're just going to continue on this train of powerhouse women. Oh my goodness, you're in for such a treat. I absolutely adore Geraldine. The first time I met Geraldine was actually at an Elevate EST, and she blew me away. She told us what was going down. And I cannot wait for you to hear her story, what you're going to speak tonight. I know it's going to be very igniting. And, you know, Geraldine, you sent me a beautiful description of you before. And then this is what I came up with. And how lame is this? So I just want to read right here that Geraldine is the operations director at Eagle Eye Software. And she's a certified life and executive coach that focuses on parenting and life coaching, coached by Geraldine. Everyone, welcome with me, Geraldine.
Sorry, guys, I have multiple screens here. So I was trying to look for which screen I'm meant to speak to. Thank you, Connie, and I'll go right into it. It's been an amazing night. I've been loving it. So let me get to mine. So what is it that makes you smile? What is it that makes your eyes sparkle? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you would do if you could do anything? You know, one of the toughest parts about starting something new is getting the courage to take the very first step. We've all been there. One moment we're excited, the next moment, there's this voice in our heads that creeps up to silence our passion. We tell ourselves things like, I'm too old, I'm too bored, I want to start this business, but not now. These feelings are things that often stand in our way of taking the leap to follow our intuition. Hello, everyone. My name is Geraldine Esemezie. I've been married for 23 years to my amazing soulmate, Andrew. I am mom to Alex, Audrey, and Andrew Jr. I'm a career woman. I'm a senior leader in a software company. I'm an investor. I'm currently building my parenting and life coaching business, which is driven by my long, deep passion for supporting parents, individuals in achieving a happy and fulfilling life while striving to achieve their goals. So my first degree was in microbiology, and after I graduated from university, I worked in a lab for 1 year, but I knew that wasn't the place for me. As a young girl, I had dreams of being in top leadership position in big corporate firms, especially in IT. I had just started having my kids at this time, and I decided to take a brief career break. During this break, I started taking some certification exams, so like an IT certification exam, so I could pivot my career to IT, which is where my passion was. And after this, I got a job in a state outside of where I was living with my husband, Andrew, and the kids, which meant I had to travel for work. So I went off for about 6 months. I visited home once every month for a few days. Those 6 months were the most miserable periods of my life because every night I cried because I missed Andrew and the kids. At the end of 6 months, I quit that job and came home. The good thing was that I had gotten some solid experience that kicked off my journey in technology space where I have been for over 20 years now. I've had my ups and downs, but I followed my passion to where I am today. The key thing I have learned is that in following whatever your passion is, always know your why. Why are you doing this? What is the benefit to you and to your community? Knowing your why will give you clarity and that focused passion to be successful. For my tech job, I was passionate about technology being an enabler for whatever you need to do. I also wanted to make a lot of money for myself, my family, and to support people around me. You can be passionate about so many things. For me, I love supporting people, relationships, families to be successful. This has been me as a young girl when I was in high school, where I would fight for my bullied mates because I was tall and strong. Coaching and mentoring comes to me naturally, and I always love to watch the delight on people's faces that have supported in turning things around for the better for them. And at my corporate work, I'm a leader, I'm a mentor to so many people. I love celebrating successes with my colleagues and clients. So this year, I realized that I had to take my passion for coaching to the next level. Hence, I began the process of setting up my parenting and life coaching practice. I am a very private person, but my passion of setting up my coaching practice has made me less private. But I'm unleashing myself. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I have shared a brief story of unleashing my passion with you, and I ask that you search within yourself for your passion. If you haven't figured it out, I have some suggestions for you. 1, observe your feelings. Let's face it, you are the only one in the world that knows what you feel. Sometimes you're excited, sometimes you're worried. Take responsibility for your feelings and think why. Write down what energizes you. There's some calling there for you. 2, listen when people praise your talents. As the theologian Frederick Buechner said, your calling is where your passion meets the world's needs. When you're aware of what your strengths are, it's a good moment to ask yourself, how can I apply to the world around me? 3, be courageous. Life is full of challenges and fears. But you may ask yourself a few questions. Will I regret not doing this when I'm old? How much does this matter to me? It takes courage to unleash your potentials. Without bold moves, you just be spinning in cycles. 4, set challenging but achievable goals. Setting goals is a great way to trigger motivation and action. It sets the direction, the next steps. It unclutters your mind. The key to unleashing your potential is setting stimulating, challenging goals that are achievable but not overwhelming. 5, every day take a small step. As we all know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. To unleash your potentials, don't overthink it. Discover what your strengths and weaknesses are. Find the world hunger you may feed. Set challenging goals for them. And every day, just a small step towards it.
30 seconds.
And finally, be thankful. If you're thankful, your sensitivity to positive aspects of life will grow. You'll see opportunities, your relationships will prosper. You're living the only life you have. So unleash your potentials. So my dear friends, quit making excuses. I'm too busy, I'm too old. Guys, look at President Joe Biden, the 46th president of the United States. He spent 45 years in politics, contested for presidency 3 times, and became the president at the age of 78. Look at Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Barack Obama, Tony Robbins, and the list goes on. All these guys had humble beginnings, but were very passionate about their goals they wanted to achieve. It takes determination, motivation, tenacity, and being action-oriented to pursue your passion to fulfillment. So I ask again, what is it that makes you smile? What is it that makes your eyes sparkle? What is it that you do if you could do anything? What is that authentic genius in you? Unleash it, nurture it, never give up trying to take it to the next level. Thank you for listening to me.
Oh, that's so good. Let's give Geraldine a big hand, everybody. That was just unbelievable. I'll tell you what makes me smile, Geraldine, is your passion, your enthusiasm, your growth. You know, from Elevate EST, first stage to the second stage to now this bigger stage, you just have been crushing it every single time. And you know what comes through so strongly when you're speaking, Geraldine, is just your incredible care for people. You're not doing it for yourself. You're not looking for the accolade or the spotlight, but you just have this passion to serve people. And we're so grateful. So that was just great, Geraldine. Thank you from the heart. Next, we're going to move on to our next speaker. And I'm just going to try to find her here. There she is. And bring her on to our sort of spotlight here. I'll share my screen just for a moment so she can have a proper introduction. So this next speaker that we have, her name is Tiff Mitton, and she is the founder of Your Thriving Family and Masquerade Ministries, along with her husband, Roy. And together they have done such incredible work. Tiff is a certified life coach, and she's a certified leadership coach. And let me tell you, folks, with lived experience and expertise learned in the trenches, I think Tiff is going to blow your mind. So welcome, Tiff. Let's give Tiffany a big hand, everybody, okay? Thank you so much. And just unmute yourself and you should be good to go. Just unmute yourself. Can you hear me, Tiff? Just unmute yourself. It's okay, all good. Just start over, no problem.
You are a mistake. You are the best mistake I made. How does that feel? How does that impact you? Now, to most of you, I'm a stranger, and I would hope that just fell off of you. Or you kind of had that attitude like, who is she? Whatever. But what about a mentor or a role model in your life saying that? What about your parents? Growing up, my parents told me that I was the best mistake that they had made, except the definition of mistake is an error in action or judgment caused by poor reasoning, carelessness, insufficient knowledge, or an action, decision, a judgment that produces an unwanted or unintentional result. A mistake is not something you enjoy. You don't have great anticipation or look forward to the arrival of an error. The reality is I was unwanted, and I'm here because of an error in action. In my preschool years, I was diagnosed with a hearing loss, and growing up, I was so embarrassed by it. To me, having a hearing loss reinforced the fact that I was a mistake. I was the only person I knew that had to wear a hearing aid. Something is wrong with me. I would refuse to wear my hearing aid if anybody could see it. And ever since I can remember, I had dreams of being a commercial airline pilot. Over 10 years of dreaming and working hard towards this goal. In an instant, it was shattered because the hearing test said that I didn't qualify the requirements needed for a commercial airline pilot. I was devastated. And then in my final semester of high school, I suffered a severe concussion in a high school basketball tournament. As a result, concentrating in school, taking exams, and focusing became nearly impossible from the ongoing concussion symptoms. I am a mistake. I am flawed. I am damaged. I'm not meant for this world. Have you felt like you don't belong? Have you felt like your flaws stood in the way of your life? Have you questioned your purpose? Why am I here? For 25 years, I lived my life limited because I didn't see a purpose for my life. I focused on trying to improve my weaknesses instead of living in my strengths. My limitations defined me. My physical limitations, the limitations others put on me, and most of all, the limitations I put on myself. I had closets full of masks that I wore because on my own, I was not enough. But 3 months before my 25th birthday, I chose to close the curtain on my masquerade. I stood in front of 2,000 people and shared it all. I shared it all, not bared it all. If you would like to live your life unlimited and unleashed, here are 3 things that I would suggest that you could do to start. First is to identify your core values. Your values are what's going to steer your life. Before my journey, my core values were limiting my life. When I decided to change those values, my life naturally changed. 3 of my core values right now are transparency, wellness, and compassion. The second thing you can do is to evaluate your beliefs. We live out our daily beliefs. But what are your beliefs? If I asked you right now, do you think you could write them down? Now think about this for a moment. If you believe that the world is against you versus, you know what, no one's perfect, but everyone's trying their best, what do you think the contrast would be in living your life? How would your daily decisions be different? Now, can I ask you to ponder something? As a child, when did you start believing in Santa Claus? Would you be able to tell me about that day? How about the day that you stopped believing in Santa Claus? The day that you changed your belief in Santa? The reason you probably can't tell me about the day that you started believing in Santa is because beliefs are caught. You will catch beliefs much faster than you will learn them. The third thing to do is to surround yourself with support. When I was alone in my life, the last thing I was thinking about was living my life in purpose, living my purpose. But I was able to become unleashed when I had support. My husband, my supportive and caring husband, was by my side. And when I thought about backing out, calling it quits, I could look over at him and know I was not alone. If everyone else turned their back on me, that's okay, because him and I, we're in it together. To continue to live your life free and unleashed on a daily basis, here are 4 tips, and they spell out free. Freedom, Remember, embrace, and emerge. Freedom. Give yourself the freedom to fail. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Take risks. I learned that just because I fell off the horse doesn't mean I need to stay sitting in the mud. I can get back up and try again. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Remember how far you've come. Remember your strengths, your highs and lows, and your passions. I shared 3 significant challenges in my life. And when I remember the shame, disappointments, and lows that I've overcome, I can live free because I have hope. Embrace yourself. To embrace is to accept or support willingly and enthusiastically. You have strengths and passions. You've been through highs and lows, and you're still standing. And emerge, to appear by coming out of something or out from behind something. Now, this process can be like peeling an onion. You may have built layers, but I encourage you to continue to emerge anything you might be hiding behind. So what does life unleashed look like?
30
Imagine
seconds.
how you might feel. I believed that I was a mistake. I believed that I was flawed and damaged and not meant for this world. If I were in a store, I would have been in the clearance as is section. But those beliefs were lies. I was born for such a time as this, and I was born for a purpose. I know that you were born for a purpose. You were not meant to be hindered or limited. What would you do if failure was not an option? For my changed life, my husband and I founded 2 organizations to give freedom and help relationships and families not just survive, but to thrive. No matter what you have gone through, no matter what people tell you, no one has greater power in your life than you. If you don't like where you're going, you can change the direction. You're in the driver's seat. Everyone deserves to live life to its full potential. You are enough, you are worth it, and you deserve it. Thank you.
Wow, everyone. Who's feeling that? You know, Tiff, that was just so incredible. And you know what's beautiful about this is that, you know, we see you at Elevate, we see you and you're sitting at the back and you're just very incognito and you're just, you know, and then you come out here as fierce as a lion and you call us forth. I felt like you were just dropping identity over everybody in the Zoom room. I hope you all have felt that. And I really, really appreciated how everything you spoke tonight, your values, we feel your values coming off of you. That's a good speaker. A good speaker is somebody who is that lived experience comes out and we feel it. So good, Tiff. So good. We're so proud of you. And that was phenomenal. So good. Well, our next speaker, I'm super excited. You know, this is really unfair. I could say so many things right now because Jason is a dear family friend of ours. We love him. He's like a brother to me. And I'm so proud that he has just taken on the role of the director of our National Hope Movement, which is our national nonprofit working in mental health. He's also an employment counselor. And I do have to say that he is extremely passionate about helping other people find belonging and purpose. And you're going to be blown away. He blows me away all the time. Welcome, Jay.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say it's an honor to be in here with everybody. I feel I'm in the room with such heavy slums and all these speeches. I'm like adding notes to my message and taking stuff away because there's so much good stuff. But I just want to invite you into my childhood a little bit. We're going to take a little walk down memory lane. And so here we go. Join me on this journey. It was grade 4. Here's the situation. I was in the prime of my life, you know, like free rent, free food, parents taking care of me, no real responsibilities. Grade 4 was the dream. I had no real cares in the world. Well, except for my social status. That was a big deal to me. let's just say I was looking at people even at the age of, I don't remember what grade 4 is, but I think it's 11 or 12. And I can remember the popular kids starting this art club, and I was so pumped. I thought this was it. This was my in. If they could see that I drew very well, I would be in and I would be set at least for grade 4 or maybe the rest of my life. Who knows? So I did the work, and I didn't know there were tryouts for this art club. And I honestly don't think everybody else in the group tried out, but they put up an extra barrier for me to try out because they obviously had their click. So I had to draw and I had to demonstrate my abilities to sketch some of the drawings that they were looking for. Now, you know, I was so pumped to share the drawings, so hopeful, but unfortunately, however, when it came to the tryouts, they didn't like it. They didn't accept my drawings. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't to their standard. Basically, the group rejected what I brought to the table. And, you know, it's kind of a funny story because you think grade 4, that sucks, but you're over it. But the reality is the sting of rejection, whether it's grade 4 or 24, it still stings. Can anyone relate that rejection sucks? And so what I want you to do for a moment with me is I want you to close your eyes first. I want you to join me in closing your eyes. And what I want you to do, I want you to think of the last time you felt unheard. Maybe it was in an office meeting, maybe it was in a classroom, maybe it was family. Maybe a time where you felt unseen. Maybe I want you to visualize a time where your needs or wants weren't being considered by others. Maybe your ideas were shot down. Think about what was the situation and how did you feel? Like really think about how you felt. And the last thing I want you to think about is how you responded. Open your eyes. Because maybe you were confident in that situation. Just let it roll off your back like water on a duck's back. Maybe you were just confident. You just walked away and you're like, their loss. Or maybe you were like me and you were stuck. And you felt like an animal with their tail between their legs and you kind of retreated, you backed down, you pulled back from social groups, you stopped talking to certain friends, and you stopped even speaking up in team meetings because you just didn't have the confidence to speak up anymore because rejection was a real thing. And the reality is rejection has been a real theme in my life. No matter how many times I was surrounded by great people, I just couldn't shake the feeling of rejection. I just couldn't shake it, and it brought me to my knees this December. So what you're hearing is a real life raw story that brought me to my knees this December. And I started to notice how rejection was destroying my life, you know, impacting my friendships. I would be friends and I would whine and complain, and they, you know, even though they were comforting me, I felt inwardly I didn't want to be that friend anymore. I didn't want to run from churches and I didn't want to bounce from job to job looking for a place where I would feel like I would belong. And so I had this moment, I had to change. I realized I had a choice to make. I could continue living in the pain of rejection, or I could allow rejection to be a redirection. I'm going to leave that one there for a second and say it again. I could wallow in the pain of rejection, or I could allow rejection redirection. And I started to see a counselor because I realized I didn't want to stuck. And when I started to pursue my healing, and when I started to pursue the deep, deep heart of why I couldn't shake rejection, here are 3 things that I began to discover in my journey. And these are 3 things that helped heal. The first thing is I started to realize I am a gift. Say it with me. I am a gift. If you can repeat it, just I'm a gift. Something that really rocked me was this truth that if I continue to live in rejection and isolation, I'm robbing others of the blessing that I have a gift, and you have a gift that the world needs. Somebody needs what we have to offer. And if we continue to wallow in rejection, we actually refuse to help others. And so when I started to realize that I'm actually in someone else's life, I need to get out of this rut. It started to trigger this want and this desire in me to rise up and unleash what was in me. The second thing I realized in this journey is that I escape rejection, but I can fight it and I can push past it. No matter your age, your socioeconomic status, your situation, life, rejection always exists. You can't get away from it. It's in our families, it's in our workplaces. We will experience it again and again, one way or another. But I don't have to back down from rejection. I can begin to push forward in it. I can begin to allow it to be fuel to push me forward. And here's a couple of ways to manage it when it does come. Journal it out. You know, what are you feeling? What's pissing you off? Just write it out. The second thing, seek a counselor. If that's what you need to do, no shame. It's good. It works. Whether you're a faith person or not, counseling is helpful. Talk to a friend. Go and shoot ball guns. I don't know. I was going to say go and shoot guns. Take that the wrong way, but do what you got to do to release the pain, actually to embrace it, then to release it. And the third thing that I realized is that you may feel rejected, but the truth is you're always loved. There might be 10 people that reject you, but there's always one person that loves you. In every situation, there's somebody that loves and appreciates you. And you know who it is because they stick by you no matter what. Get it. Rejection sucks. I've lived it. What if rejection leads to redirection? See, rejection gave me a chance to reflect and change. Rejection led me to new opportunities. And last but not least, rejection helped me better appreciate those who value me. So today, you and I get to choose. Wallow in the pain or let the pain redirect us. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was amazing. Let's give Jason a hand, everybody. I just loved the mixture of vulnerability and wisdom. Thank you so much, Jason. We're really grateful for that message. It really spoke to my heart, and really positive comments in the chat window. You know, you said so many great nuggets. I mean, hey, who doesn't deal with rejection? And I think it's just one of those things that we don't often like to talk about, right? But we display in our actions. And so thank you so much for that great share, Jason. That was awesome. So our last attendee speaker for today is a lovely human, and I'm just going to share my screen. Of course, all of us are lovely humans without a doubt, but I have the pleasure tonight of introducing to you Amie. Amie, and I hope I have your name correct. Amie Geall, is that correct? Geall?
Soft G like gelato.
Okay, Geall, which is just great. And, you know, I was, you know, in Amy's group for a part of the Elevate EST when she spoke. And I'm going to just be honest, I was blown away, honestly, by her passion, by her confidence, by just the strength of her message. And Amie is the CEO and founder of Woman of Triumph. I love that. I just get excited when I read that name. I mean, you know, some people, you just have to read the title of their book and that's all you need, or read the name on their business card. Woman of Triumph. How many think that's pretty awesome, right? You know, and so Amie, welcome. And I can't wait to hear from you. So let's give Amie a big hand, everybody.
Oh, thanks so much, Abe, and thanks for those kind remarks. So yes, my name is Amie, and today I want to talk to you about unleashing you in the context of unleashing dreams as a dream builder or a dream crusher. This involves a personal story and what I learned about unleashing myself and others around me. But in reality, unleashing your dreams is really about unleashing the dreams in your heart. And most of us don't dream alone. So learning the difference between a dream builder and a dream crusher is really critical in getting and staying unleashed in life. So by raising your hands, how many people of you here have been around a dream builder? Awesome. So you know how exhilarating and amazing that truly feels. How many of you have ever been around a dream crusher? Raise your hand. So you know how shocking and actually debilitating that is being around somebody who enjoys crushing other people with their criticism. Maybe you've been married to one, worked for one, or been friends with one. So you know how painful that can really be. So really knowing the difference between a dream builder and dream crusher is really as essential as knowing whether or not your dreams will be shipwrecked. You'll either be a slave to someone else's dream, or you'll be blessed to live from the dreams in your own heart. So my personal story that really illustrates and has brought to life to this concept to me started out as an intentional and personal friendship. We'll refer to her as friend B for the purpose of remaining anonymous. We were two young career women who shared hopes and dreams, both personally and professionally, for our future. Even how our deeply held values can make an impact on the world around us. And this sharing of dreams really fueled our bonds as friends. The dream became practical, however, when friend B wanted to create an exercise-based YouTube channel. The whole concept was about us co-branding a channel based on exercise, faith, and fitness, and it was going to have a fun, inspirational Christian message wrapped around it. While friend B was wildly enthusiastic about this possibility, I felt restrained in my enthusiasm. I really didn't know if we aligned deeply enough in our beliefs to co-brand this YouTube channel publicly. And so friend B noticed my restraint, and she doubled down on her passion. She said, "Come on, Amie, we have to do this. This is God." And I thought, well, I'm not really sure if this is how I want to give God glory in my life. And I told her I needed some time to think about it. So time went on and the project was shelved. My personal values in friendship are always quality connection and consistency. So even though this intentional friendship was in its infancy, I continued with quality connection and consistency. Sure enough, the March 2020 pandemic came around, and it became obvious that we could really step it up for each other in terms of being an intentional part of each other's support network. So we took the opportunity to schedule weekly and bi-weekly calls to really invest in our friendship. It was during that time that I found out that friend B had aggressively criticized some of the personal and leadership decisions that I made and confided in her confidentially. I was devastated. The betrayal stung deeply. I struggled to understand how it even contributed to the betrayal. At that time, I permanently withdrew from that connection and that friendship. And I decided I needed to own my dreams like never before. So I came up with these 3 characteristics of a dream builder versus a dream crusher, but mostly on the dream builder side, so that when you unleash your dreams, you'll be unleashed for the long term and you'll be unleashed strategically. So the first characteristic of a dream builder is really build on your unique strengths and values. Acknowledge weaknesses, but build on your strengths. That means be fearless enough to be in a league of your own so that what you're unleashing is uniquely you and something you can be proud of. The second characteristic of a dream builder is unlock pain before you unlock purpose. That way you can speak from the valley and the mountaintop and be 100% congruent in what you bring to the table. More importantly, when you unlock pain before you unlock purpose, that means you're transmitting healing to the world rather than your pain. And I think we can all agree that the world could use a little bit more healing right now. It's really about turning your private triumphs into public triumphs. And mainly you get rid of emotional blockages before putting all your emotional congruence into your purpose. And the third characteristic of a dream builder is really about when you may be searching for other partners that you might want to collaborate with in life or in business. It applies to personal and professional relationships. And that key is amazing grace. So it's after you become familiar with both people's strengths and weaknesses, it becomes easier to criticize them. It is actually truly amazing grace to overlook weaknesses and build on unique strengths at that point. Building strengths, or I should say building dreams with someone, is also an act of unconditional love because it takes more work to build with the whole person rather than just select the parts that we like. So building dreams is truly an act of unconditional love. So in closing, I just want to encourage everybody that as you're unleashing yourself and the people around you, make sure that you see other people as dreams to be unleashed in the process. And I hope you can see from these characteristics that I show you that dream builders release higher love, higher joy, and higher contribution. So I encourage you to follow this path of a dream builder and unleash awesomeness in yourself and the people around you starting today. And join the challenge. Thanks.
Hey, that was amazing. Let's give Amie a big hand, everybody. That was so good. You know, just so inspirational, so empowering. How many of y'all appreciated that from Amie? Wasn't that great? And, you know, what an incredible group of speakers here. You know, there's so much that we heard here tonight that was, I think, so inspiring. And we do want to bring this to a little bit of a close here today. You know, and as we do, I'm going to just spend a little bit of time and speak. You know, tonight we heard first from Stephanie, and Stephanie did such an incredible job of talking about becoming unleashed from the opinions of others, right? We've all had these times where people have tried to put us in a box with the things that they've said about us. And I'm 100% positive that if we went around the room here tonight, we can all point to moments in our lives when somebody said something to us, maybe like they did with Stephanie, hey, you're shining too bright, just tone it down a little bit, girl, you know, or hey, one day you're gonna end up in prison, or why does nobody act, you know, as bad as you, or whatever. And I just love how Stephanie was unleashed from the opinions of others. And then we heard from Ryan. And Ryan, you know, I'm so grateful for the authenticity of our men here tonight. How many think that was amazing, right? Our male speakers, both Ryan and Jason. And, you know, Ryan basically told us he hadn't given a speech for over 30 years and until Elevate EST. And so Ryan was unleashed from fear. And how many of you know fear is such a powerful force? When you are stuck in fear, you're limited from progress. You're limited from achieving your destiny. You're limited from becoming everything that you want and can become. You know, everything you want literally is on the other side of fear. And so when Ryan talked about becoming unleashed from fear, that absolutely moved me. And then my lovely wife, who talked about the fact that she was unleashed from stereotypes. Well, hey, you're an immigrant, you know, you're a woman. Hey, you're too small. There's no way you can become a leader in a male-dominated field like IT. And how many of you would agree that every single one of us today, I mean, if there's one thing that we're seeing a lot of, it's stereotypes, it's labels, it's trying to put people into boxes. And I was so inspired when Euniz talked about the fact that she was unleashed from stereotypes. What are the stereotypes that are holding you back tonight? What are the messages that you have heard that have burned into your heart and life? And then I think Sophea, so powerful, you know, talking about buying her house and starting her business and doing all of these things before she'd even turned 30. I mean, talk about becoming unleashed from limitations. And, you know, I think so many people live limited lives tonight. They live limited lives because of the words of others, because of the actions of others, because of the agenda of somebody else who wants to hold them back and trap them. But Sophea here tonight taught us, you know, with a vision board, how we could become unleashed from our limitations. And then Geraldine, I'm going to think Geraldine just rocked the house here tonight. And I mean, there's so many directions I could go with Geraldine, but she talked, I think, you know, I mean, a lot of things, but she was unleashed from boredom, I think, because when she talked about how she decided it was time to start her coaching business, that she had come to success in her career, and there she was in that software company and doing great things. But now I want to take my passion and I want to activate it. I mean, how many of you know that some of you on this call tonight, you need to be unleashed from boredom, right? You're not living up to your full potential, right? You're just kind of coasting. And you've got so much locked up inside of you. I can tell you this, you do not want to bring it to the grave. I mean, you think about how many unsung songs and how many uninvented inventions and how many unwritten books are lying literally in the local cemetery because people said, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it when the conditions line up. I'll do it when I have enough money. I'll do it when everything is proper. And I can tell you, wait too long, opportunity is going to pass you by. And so Geraldine was unleashed from that boredom. I think Tiff talked about being unleashed from labels. What a moving story, Tiff with the hearing aid and all of the nasty, negative, toxic words that she had heard. And, unfortunately, in our society today, we're labeling people left, right, and center before we ever hear their story. We look at somebody and within 2 seconds, how many of you know we think we have them figured out? Oh, I know you're this, you're that. I know everything about you. Well, how many of you would agree with me when I say we don't know anything about people until we sit down and hear them educate us about them? And then Jason, so powerfully talked about being unleashed from rejection. I just thought that was so powerful. And rejection, besides Jason, am I the only one who's experienced rejection here on the call? I think that we've all experienced rejection, and rejection hurts so deeply. And you've got to find a way to process that and work it through. And I just loved Amie, I think in so many ways, talking about being unleashed from the opinions of others and finding a way to step into her power and into her strength and to discover who and what she was meant to be. We've shared these stories here tonight because, number one, hey, these speakers deserved it. How many think these speakers deserved it tonight? I think that was amazing. But the second reason we've shared it is because, are you noticing a theme? How many of you are noticing a theme here? And it's a theme about becoming unleashed. It's a theme about letting out the beast. And I mean that in the best way. I don't mean this disrespectful, out of control beast, but what I mean is all those hopes, all those dreams, all that capacity, all that potential that has been locked up inside of you. How many of you think that it's time to unleash it? And it was so powerful. I think it was when Stephanie said, the world and people around you need your light. How many of you know that? And that's why I want to just share my screen for 1 second. We want to, at Flourishing Life Coaching, we want to invite you to what we're calling the Unleashing You Challenge. Now, the best part about this challenge is that there's no cost. How many of y'all like things without any cost? The cost is, of course, your time. But the Unleashing You Challenge is 5 days to develop that inner warrior. And that's not because we're warlike people. That's because sometimes you have to take your destiny into your hands. Sometimes you have to say that I'm going to say no to the naysayers, and I'm going to say yes to the dream. I'm going to say yes to the purpose. I'm going to say yes to the goal. And so on May 31st, which is a little over a week from today, I think it's about 13 days from now, we're going to be starting this. It's going to go for 5 days, just 1 week. And, you can register for the Unleashed Challenge. We're going to send you all the information that you need to register for this challenge in an email tomorrow. There's a link where you can go and you can register for this, and there's literally no cost. And we would love for you to take this journey. You say, well, who's the Unleashed Challenge for? Well, I'll tell you what. It's for humans. How many of you all are humans here? I like what Ryan said earlier. We didn't invite any cats or dogs onto this call here tonight. We invited, yes, Lori, how could we forget? That's right. And she can sign up for the challenge as well. That's right. There's Lori's cat, the cat could sign up for the challenge too. You might have to help him type in his email address, but beyond that, I think we'll be good to go. We all have a place in this challenge. I think about my own life. I remember being, 8 years old and having a lot of anger at that time in my life because of some things that had occurred. And, the words that were spoken over my life at that time, I was in a fight one day in the schoolyard and I ended up hitting the principal of the school, and she wasn't very happy with that, understandably. And to be in my defense, it was a bit of a mistake. It was an accident. Didn't know it was her. But, she was so angry. She said, Abe, you're such a bad kid. One day you're going to end up in prison. And, I probably would have said the same thing. I don't fault her. But then, I was thinking about the power of our words. Just a little while ago, I was out for a walk with my wife and children, and we were walking by this neighborhood park. We all have them in our neighborhoods, and a little park where kids can swing on the swings and slide down the slides. And there was this dad who showed up, and he just started screaming. you know, at the top of his lungs. You know, how many of you know it's always a dangerous thing to see a man in a minivan? How many of you know what I'm talking about, right? Because he gets behind that V6, he just feels, you know, super empowered. And this guy starts yelling at this beautiful little girl. She was probably 5 or 6 years old. And he, you know, he's screaming, get in the car, get in the car. We got to get to the doctor's appointment. Get in the car, get in the car. And, you know, she's just being a little girl playing. And, you know, hey, I've got a 6-year-old little girl. They like to dawdle a little bit. They're not operating on our schedule all the time. Sometimes they're operating on their own timetable. And his voice increased and he started screaming, you're such a doughhead. You're always such a doughhead. I don't even know what a doughhead is, but by his tone, it did not sound very good. And he just kept going, all this filth, you know, you're such a doughhead. Why do you always take so long? What's wrong with you? Why can't you speed up? And so the little girl gets up and she grabs her sister, who's a couple years younger. So, you know, kind of playing the mom a bit. Hey, we got to go. And then her little sister starts crying, right? Because, hey, how come I got to leave the park? And this made the dad even angrier. He screams out even louder. You're such a doughhead, always such a doughhead. Why do you always screw everything up? And she doesn't need to come to the doctor's appointment. And this guy is like screaming in front of everybody. So I'm about to go over there and talk to this guy. And finally, the little girl hops in the car and they drive off to this doctor's appointment. And I was thinking, you know, to this dad, he's trying to get to an appointment on time, but to this girl, what possibilities, you know, is he destroying? You know, what relationships, what expectations of men is he destroying by the words that he's using, and what sort of future is he limiting her from experiencing by spewing out so many toxic words? And it was so powerful to me to have come through some of that in my own life, to know what it is to be unleashed and to hear stories of our speakers tonight. You know what? It's your time. It's your time to be unleashed. But you got to take a step. Nobody's going to unleash you. I mean, that's the key to being unleashed. How many of you know what I'm talking about here tonight? No one's going to rescue you. Hate to break it to you. No one is going to come with the golden key and unleash you from your mindsets, from your fears, from the labels, from the stereotypes, from the limitations, from the lack of resources. Whatever story you're telling yourself, you have got to unleash you. You've got to own it. You've got to say, I'm going to look this rejection in the eye. I'm going to look this shyness in the eye. I'm going to look this stereotype in the eye. I'm going to look this fear in the eye. And this Unleash You challenge is the key. So please do join us. We're going to send out an email to all of you tomorrow with the information. And I can tell you this, no cost. In this day and age, how many of you with me when I say we need to get together? We need to get together so that we can help each other to unleash, so that we can tap into our absolute highest and our absolute best. And so one final thing that I'm going to ask you guys to do, I hope you don't mind. Can you guys all just turn on your camera? Would you mind doing that? As many of you as can. I didn't put my makeup on tonight either, but we'd love to see you. And what we want to do is take a couple of pictures of this lovely group here tonight. Would that be okay? And there's a couple of like full screens we're going to have to get through. So you just have to be patient if you don't mind. But, you know, can I just ask you to just kind of give a wave and a big smile to all of our speakers tonight for their great effort, and give a smile, everybody. And I'm going to just take a little shot there just to memorialize this moment. Thank you for that. Give me one quick second. And let me just do one more. And then that will be all of the hassles here tonight. So just give a smile and a wave. It's great. You guys are amazing. So, you know, on that note, we're going to close off our evening. Thank you so much for your engagement tonight. Thanks to our amazing speakers. They were incredible. And folks, it's your time to be unleashed. So when that email comes out tomorrow, we want you to register right away. Get in on something that can change your whole life. The trajectory of your entire life can change if you just take the right steps. And oh, hey, Connie put the link in the chat window. That was awesome. Hey, and so did I think Cynthia. So just click on that link before we shut the meeting down, and you'll click on that link yourself, and you'll see there's no cost, there's no obligation. It's just get involved with a group of people who want to get free, because it's my time, it's your time, it's all of our time. And I'll tell you what, the world needs what you've got. How many of you agree with that here tonight? Are you with me? Okay, everybody, please do click on that link, sign up, and we'll see you in the challenge. Take care.